Hey y'all, Lance from Permanent Records here, back with a follow-up video. I recently did a video where I talked with Jonas from Sublime Media from Sweden about heavy 45s. Well, that video unfortunately was riddled with technical difficulties and got cut short. I won't get into the details on why, but either way, we'll do that better next time. And here I am on my own in a setting that I'm very comfortable with, well, as comfortable as I can be at this point, to show the 45s that I meant, all of the 45s that I meant to show off in the video I did with Jonas. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I did already show some of the records that I have here in front of me on the video with Jonas, but I want to be thorough about it because I did take a bunch of time to get these records pulled and featured on that video. So I will start by saying that Brown Acid 14, Brown Acid the 18th trip, even I can't keep count at this point. It's so hard to keep track after 9 years of putting out compilations every 6 months. Brown Acid the 18th trip is coming out on April 20th, 2024. It's right around the corner. And the first few records from this stack are from Brown Acid 18. This is Atlantis. Moby Shark will be the track off of this 45 that we're going to include on Brown Acid 18. The band was from Baltimore, Maryland, and they released this 45 in 1975. Amazing stuff. I'll put that over there. Kind of a stomping, kind of tribal, heavy psych number. This is Smokin' Buku Band. This is a late entry into the Brown Acid series. This record came out in 1980 on their own fabulous Fox record imprint. The band was from Hollywood, California, and Hot Love will be on Brown Acid 18. The Pawnbrokers were from Fargo, North Dakota, believe it or not. There was a garage rock scene in every city back in 1968, and Pawnbrokers did 2 singles. This one, Realize, in 1968, and the follow-up, Dime Dance, Romance, in 1969 on their own Big Sound record imprint. Also coming on Brown Acid 18 is this psychedelic funk number, Rockin' Chair by Brothers of the Ghetto. This band was from Chicago, Illinois. They put this 45 out in 1975 on their own Ghetto Records imprint, and it is an amazing psychedelic funk 45. And last but not least, on the Brown Acid 18 trip, we got Tommy Stewart and the Rubber Band. Peeking Through Your Window is the title of this promo only 45, released in 1970 on the 123 record label. All right, those are, of all the records that I pulled for the video with Jonas, those are the only ones I was able to actually squeeze in talking about. So we'll get into some more here. All the way from Union, Missouri, we have this amazing 2-sider. The one side is called Watch 'Em Shine, the other side is called Shoot Scooter. Both sides of this record are amazing. It was released in 1974. This has not been included on Brown Acid yet, but it will be in the very near future. However, 2 bands from Missouri that are related to Osage Loot, Backjack and Parchment Farm, both have tracks on the upcoming Brown Acid 18 compilation, the 18th trip, I should say. And yeah, they also have whole LPs worth of unreleased material. Both of those bands did numerous recordings beyond this Osage Loot 45 and the one Backjack 45. Parchment Farm with featured some of the same members of those 2 bands. They never released anything back in the day, but we have archival LPs of recordings from the 70s from Backjack and Parchment Farm, and another related group, Max Creek Band. We will be doing a full-length LP reissue on Riding Easy sometime soon as well. That's more of a Southern rock record, and it's a stunner. All right, so this band on the record label, as you can see, was called Zuckus or Zukus. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that, because the band told me that their band name was Ice. And Ice, like Backjack and Parchment Farm, recorded a whole LP's worth of material that we released archivally after we licensed the track Running High off of this single from 1972 for Brown Acid 9. The Ice Age LP is previously unreleased recordings from this band, Zuckus, or Ice. Yeah, the story gets a little muddy as to how a band doesn't know what their own band name is for the record label, but we won't get into that now. This is an exceedingly rare 45. The band pressed 99 or 100 copies. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it was 99 copies of this promo-only single in 1974. The band is from Detroit, Michigan, and like the other bands I just mentioned, this particular band, when we contacted them about licensing Feeling Dead, they told us about this master tape right here of recordings from that same time period. If you couldn't tell, this is the part of the video where I talk about singles that we've comped on Brown Acid and the archival releases of unreleased material from those same artists. So yeah, Master Dance did that promo only 45, and they recorded a handful of other tunes. There are 8 in total on this LP, and they are amazing 70s Detroit style rock and roll. If you like the MC5, the Stooges, that sort of thing, Grand Funk, you should check out that Feeling Dead record. And Master Dance was on Brown Acid 13 originally. This group was from Los Angeles, California. They're called Peace Pipe. This single, The Sun Won't Shine Forever, came out in 1969, and we comped it on Brown Acid 9. Wow, I can't believe that was nearly 5 years ago now. Well, Peace Pipe and John Uzoni specifically recorded other material around the same time. This is the only single that came out back in the day. Rockadelic Records, Rich Hop's label, released an LP of those unreleased recordings originally, and Riding Easy Records will be putting that stuff out again in the very near future as well. But you can hear Peace Pipe on Brown Acid 9, The Sun Don't Shine Forever. This is Max, Gary Del Vecchio and Max specifically, and their 45 Buzzin' from back in 1970. This band called Youngstown, Ohio, the Brown Acid Mecca home back in the day. We comped Buzzin' on Brown Acid 13 a few volumes ago, and luckily for us and for you, Gary Del Vecchio also recorded a bunch of material back in the day, right around the time he released that single, and that's what this Buzzin' LP is. This one's open, so I can show you the beautiful blue marbled colored vinyl on this Buzzin' LP. There's also an insert with liner notes written by the legendary Paul Major, and as it says there on the hype sticker, Ohio was a hotbed for hard rock at the time, with bands like James Gang, Glass Harp, Puba, Left In, Damnation of Adam Blessing. What you get here matches the style of any of those bands, hands down. That's Gary Del Vecchio from Ohio, early 70s rock and roll. Those of you into the private press hard rock scene will recognize this Truth and Janie, No Rest for the Wicked LP with its legendary, iconic album cover of the hand coming out of the grave, marked by a Marshall full stack tombstone, and we got a Thunderbird and some drumsticks and a cymbal coming out of the ground as well. Well, these guys, Truth, Billy Lee Janey, and the third band member whose name is escaping me at the moment, they not only put out this incredible LP back in the day, and there is an original of that up on the wall behind me here. Oh no, we're losing singles, y'all. Yikes. Truth and Janey, that's the original pressing of No Rest for the Wicked. One is called Midnight Horseman. It's backed by a cover of Under My Thumb by the Rolling Stones, of course. They put this out in 1972, and we comped this particular single on Brown Acid the 6th trip many moons ago. And then in, what year did they do this? 1973, so just a year later, under the name Truth, which was the last name of one of the members of Truth and Janey, not Billy Lee Janey, obviously. Truth released this single on their own Driving Wheel Records imprint, Around and Around, and Straight 8 Pontiac, which is a Sonny Boy Williamson cover. And believe it or not, I got this record for $5. That's an amazing deal. And yeah, again, we comped this single on Brown Acid 17 just a little while ago. The story of Brown Acid is a wild one. Sometimes trying to track the artists for these compilations takes many months, sometimes years. Sometimes you can get a hold of the original band members and the songwriters in a reasonable amount of time, but they aren't interested in working with you immediately or whatever. It's difficult to license this material sometimes. This particular band, Dick Rabbit, with their single Come On Like a Train, is one that I've owned for many, many years. This came out in 1968. There's a promo version on Deltron. There's a stock copy version as well, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But I've been in touch with Gordon Thayer from Dick Rabbit for many years. I first got in touch with him in 2015, and just late last year, Gordon Thayer reached out to me and he said, you know what, I think it's time. I would love to be a part of your compilation series. Let's get it rolling. So we licensed Come On Like a Train and a few other tracks by Dick Rabbit. And this band was based out of Bay City, Michigan. And when we licensed the singles, Gordon Thayer was kind enough to inscribe and sign copies of the Come On Like a Train 45 and the ultra rare Love 45, which will make their way onto Brown Acid compilations sooner than later. This one came out in 1969, and Come On Like a Train dates to 1968. That was 8 or 9 years in the making, getting the license for that one. Any Nrbq fans out there? Well, diehard Nrbq fans will recognize this one. This single came out back in 1971. Nrbq are from Louisville, Kentucky, and this single came out on Scepter Records, promo only. There is no stock copy version of this back in 1971, and it is a one-off, just to studio piss take, kind of. The members of Nrbq, I believe the story is they switched instruments, and they all played instruments that they don't normally play, and they put out this insanely radical hard rock banger, really lo-fi blown out stuff called Don't Talk About My Music. And yeah, that came out on Brown Acid 12 originally. Yeah, gotta love that. One of the most collectible and sought after singles on the Brown Acid series is this Glass Sun 45. And very few of the original copies of this record have this cool screen printed sleeve Mine happens to be signed by the original members of Glass Sun. This came out in 1971. The band was based out of Westland, Michigan, which is a Detroit suburb, and we comped this insanely heavy psych jam on Brown Acid 2 very, very early on. The second trip back in 2015 or so. Just unbelievable that we go back that far. Those of you familiar with the Acid Archives and heavy hard rock private pressings will recognize this Primeval record. It's called Smokin' Bats at Campton's. And I love this little sticker on here from the record fair, if you can see that. It says, I will take 800 for it. If not, it goes back in my collection. Well, it didn't go back in that dealer's collection. This is an absolutely stunning hard rock record out of Indiana. And the band Primeval not only did that LP, but they did this 145 called Too Dead to Live in 1972. And we comped this single on Brown Acid 17. Just amazing stuff out of Indiana, and I highly recommend that single and the Smokin' Bats at Campton's LP. Straight out of Canada, we got Sarah West. This one's called, it's a two-sider. The side we comped on Brown Acid 16 is called Saturday, Hot and Heavy. The flip side is called Space Rider, and both tracks on this Vintage Records label, which I believe only released this Sarah West record, and Sarah West probably were the people behind this particular 45, put this out in 1974, if I didn't say that already. And you can hear that song on Brown Acid 16. This Texas banger, this hard rocker by Buckshot, Bar Star, was released back in 1976. The band was based out of Houston. There's another version of Bar Star. It was released on, I think, a green label, and the artist is listed as Jim Fulton instead of Buckshot. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same recording of Bar Star, and I think it has the same song on the flip side on Hamilton Street Records. Really legendary Texas hard rocker right here. I got this record in Texas from a dealer who found a little grip of them at Goodwill, and when I bought them from him, they all had the Goodwill like 39-cent price sticker on there. I paid much more than that for this and the other copies that I bought from him, and I think I was able to sell them all for around $700 each or so. And yeah, haven't seen another copy since. This actually did originally have a picture sleeve. Obviously, my copy does not have that picture sleeve, but what are you gonna do? All right, this one, unfortunately, Gada. This is a great record. We comped this song, Third Side by Gada, on Brown Acid 13. The band was based out of Detroit, Michigan, and they released this single on LBJ What Now Records, their own record label, back in 1970. I think I said unfortunately earlier. Unfortunately, Frank Lowenberg from Gada passed on recently. I was informed by his wife, now widow, that Frank is no longer with us, and my heart goes out to the family. And yeah, it's a sad loss for Daniel and I. You know, we licensed this track from Frank specifically. Yeah, we had a great relationship with him over the years. That's one of the really unfortunate elements of dealing with aging people in terms of reissuing music, is that, you know, no one lives forever. And we've seen a lot of good artists pass over the years. What happens when you've been doing a compilation series for the better part of a decade. But anyway, my sincerest condolences to the Lowenberg family. Go check out Third Side by Gada on Brown Acid 13. And while you're at it, go listen to Attack. Attack School Days is my favorite side of this 45, and I'm going to take this out of the paper sleeve because I just love the way they designed that record label. It's so rad. On their own Fuzzwort record label, both sides look very similar. We comped both sides of this single, or we licensed both. We've released School Days on Brown Acid 8. I don't think we've gotten around to releasing Dream yet, but anyway, this record came out in 1969. The band was based out of St. Clair Shores, Michigan, near Detroit, and yeah, Attack was their name. This is very much recommended for fans of the MC5 and Sonic's Rendezvous Band, etc. It's just unbelievable proto-punk madness there. Another one, I always hold near Missouri records near and dear to my heart. This band, Summit, was based out of Clinton, Missouri, which I believe is pretty close to Kansas City on the west side of the state. They released this song, The Darkness, back in 1969. We comped this on Brown Acid, The Seventh Trip, and dark is what this is. This is very, very dark psych, and by psych I mean heavy, heavy psychedelic rock. I highly recommend checking out the Summit, or Summit, The Darkness. Speaking of picture sleeves, this is one of the most wild picture sleeves we have handled here in the Brown Acid, the history of Brown Acid. This band, Axis, look at the insanity going on here. This beautifully hand-drawn picture sleeve. Axis were from Deer Creek, Indiana, and they released this 45 back in 1975. I believe I have the LP up on the shelf behind me here. I probably should have pulled this out before the video, but you know, let's just get impromptu. Axis also released this Broken Dreams LP back in the day. My personal copy of the 45 is inscribed by all the original band members, and as you can see, we have the inscribed picture sleeve, a perfect copy of that, and a sealed copy of the Broken Dreams LP by Axis. Just absolutely stunning stuff. The track Lucifer off of the Axis 45 was comped originally on Brown Acid, The Fourth Trip, and yeah, I'll show you the record label there. Just stunning, stunning stuff. The falsetto vocal on that one gets me every single time. So, travel slightly outside of the Brown Acid realm and talk about this punk record, specifically this 1978 Austin, Texas punk record by the Body Snatchers. This is an EP. This is the only thing the Body Snatchers released back in the day, and I'm showing this one off because Daniel from Riding Easy and I licensed this, and it's coming out on Record Store Day 2024. April 20th, 2024. You'll be able to get yourself a reissue of this incredibly rare Texas Punk 45, the first Austin, Texas punk record. A track off of this one, which one again? Let's see. The Are You Into Destruction track has been comped on numerous punk bootleg compilations, like Killed by Death and Bloodstains Across the Jack Ruby State. And yeah, that's the Body Snatchers. It's hard rock, but you know, more in the punk realm. All right, I recently acquired one of the heavy psych holy grails. This is also a Texas record, and it will instantly be recognizable by anyone who gets serious about collecting this kind of stuff. This is Doomsday by the Purple Sun on Rampart Street Records, the same record label based out of Houston that put out the Stone Axe 45 back in the day. Purple Sun were a Christian band, not unlike, ooh, I like that, yeah, that's good. Not unlike Fraction, who released the Moonblood LP back in 1971. Yeah, they were a Christian band. They got super, super heavy, and Doomsday is one of the best examples of heavy psych you could ever possibly imagine. This record, the last time it came up for sale on Discogs, sold for $2,500, and yeah, I was lucky enough to do a trade with a friend to get a copy of that one. All right, last two. This is kind of a wacky one. So this band, The Shield, did a cover, I'm sorry, the band is called Sweet Basil. They do a cover, a Deep Purple cover for this 45, and this is a split single, and it's oversized, as you can see. I'll pull out this Axis 45. It's much, the sleeve is much larger than your average 7-inch picture sleeve. I don't know why that was, but it does look to be very handmade. The seams are essentially taped with Scotch tape. The artwork is pasted on this cardboard sleeve. And this was actually, and I'm showing this because it doesn't fit in my record boxes. It sits in a weird spot in my collection where it very rarely gets gotten out and shown. So here it is. Sweet Basil, The Shield. They're extremely rudimentary and earnest and lo-fi cover of Deep Purple's The Shield. That's the side to own this for. The other side is whatever. It's got a cool sleeve, of course. The Milk Truck does a ballad, a really mellow kind of garage number called Girl, I Love You. Well, this record was released on a label called Disco that was a junior achievement, Junior Achievement was an after-school program to teach high school kids kind of about business techniques by presumably getting them to release records and sell them and so on and so forth. I think Junior Achievement is still a thing. I had not thought about Junior Achievement since my high school days. A friend of mine was involved with Junior Achievement, like selling candy bars door to door or something to that effect. And anyway, it was cool to see that Junior Achievement got involved in record production, at least for this 145 back in the day. I think this came out in 1970 originally. Yeah, so last but not least, we have this amazing unfolded picture sleeve by a band called the Mad Dancers. Here's the record itself. And the Mad Dancers were based out of Rockford, Illinois. They put this single out back in 1975 and presumably never got around to folding all of the screen printed picture sleeves for their record. And again, I pulled this one out for the video I was doing with Jonas because I just never get this record out. And I can't bring myself to fold this in half. And again, it's also pretty oversized. So even if I did fold it, it wouldn't really fit very easily into my 45 boxes. And so it sits on the shelf while the 45 sits in the white boxes to be played. And yeah, this is a really killer heavy psych jam. I bought this from my pal Rob from Numero Group many years ago, before it was on Discogs. It is now on Discogs, and there are 0 copies for sale, as there are of most of the 45s that I just showed in this video. These records are exceedingly rare. They rarely come up for sale, and when they do, they can be very expensive. So, but yeah, that's the name of the game I hope Jonas is watching this video. I apologize to everyone who tuned in for that live video that I did with Jonas, for not being able to figure out StreamYard and not knowing that I needed my laptop to conduct that video. I'm so used to using my phone to film these videos and so on and so forth. Anyway, please forgive my ignorance. I am a Luddite record collector, not a technologically savvy business person, obviously. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. In the background, you have been listening to Brown Acid, the 18th Trip. This is the test pressing. The actual stock copies of this record will be available on Record Store Day, April 20th, 2024. It's coming up right around the corner. Get that, get the Band X, Best of Band X LP, and get the Body Snatchers EP, the Texas punk, first Austin, Texas punk record from 1978, reissued on Writing Easy Records. My name is Lance. I'm the owner of Permanent Records and the Permanent Records Roadhouse. And until next time, life is short. Buy more records.